is on from the insurance, not even from American,
Mm.
$6,000. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yeah, $6,000,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know, and he's been paid for his wages $250,000.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, this is the sort of this is how these people see us. They don't see us as we don't have no value in their eyes,
Mm.
right? And remember the same thing, similar thing happened. Now, when Gaddafi, they said that so Gaddafi, that plane thing that happened, they said it was Gaddafi. How much he paid them? Millions,
Mm.
right? Millions. Okay. They in Afghanistan they kill a family with a wedding. How many thousands of pounds they give them? You understand me? But when somebody do something with them, they want millions as for their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's why this situation of reparation, right? We cannot lay up on it, right? Because you see, when somebody does something to them, you see, they want. I mean, they say, "Oh, Gaddafi, the Lockerbie thing with the plane. How many millions Gaddafi had to pay those people?
Mm.
Although then he has nothing to do with it.
Mm. Lockerbie.
Right?
You're talking about Lockerbie.
The Lockerbie situation, yeah, right. But they say, no, we accuse you and you have to pay compensation. How many millions? Well, what about our lives? What about what they have done to us? We didn't ask them to come to Africa and take us out. We were there. You know, and one of the things that people need to understand, right? Your rights. What is your rights in this world? And nobody has any right to violate your rights in this world.
Well, this is what you would like. This is what you would love to believe, wouldn't it? Right? This is what you would love to believe. But the way how these people are, it's like they're just being opportunists, right? Because as I said, I'm just there returning from the funeral service of my cousin, right? And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to drive this evening. I'm going to take a train, right? And as I'm going to the train now, and obviously it is late. It is later in the evening, late at night, yeah. And I'm just walking down, and it's only my observation of the characteristics of this person, and then I said, you know what? I'm not even going to interact with this woman, yeah.
Right.
Because I feel that if I did interact, it would have escalated into a different level again. Yeah. And I'm thinking, I'm thinking, no, I'm not even gonna be, I'm not gonna be drawn into nothing with nobody right at this time. And this is why I did laugh about it, because I'm thinking I'm the only black, just me and her walking down to the platform, and then she wanted to carry on like this way in front of me. And I'm thinking, you know what? Forget it. Forget it.
Yeah.
ah, ah, I gone. I gone. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah. You see, one of the things in this world, you have to, and unfortunately, this is where we're in a lot of problems of not knowing our rights, right? Of not knowing our rights. And that's why I'm pushing that we need to set up the Pan-African Union, okay? Pan-African Union UK, so that we can have, you know, like Brother Carl and so forth, to have a department where we have a legal, you know, because the point is many people think Brother Carl is doing what he's doing, but they don't realize, you know, I mean, these things cost money, okay? And they need funding. You understand what I'm saying? Right? And we have so many cases. Who is fighting for us? Who is going to court and stand up for us? And that's why that's why all people need to understand. We need to have a unity organization that is working for us, right? And we're going to have to put money into that organization. Just like how these people set up the union, right, in order to fight certain battles for them, we need to set up the Pan-African Union, right, that will fight our battles for us. You see what I'm saying? But it's going to need funding, and our people need to become paid-up members, and also, at times, put money into the fund in order to keep the thing alive, to keep working for us.
It's like, I'll tell you what it's like. It's like life insurance.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You pay into this, and the thing is that it's a collective fund. It's a collective fund. Right?
100%.
So it's not, right? It's not a case of, oh, it's just for you alone. When you're paying into this thing, it is distributed to all those who are paying in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that if you're paying into like an insurance in one way or another, right?
But even in the union, you see, in the union, right? They have a department that if you have a case, that they will take up the case for you. You understand me, right? You see, you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. We need to have our own. That's what our people don't seem to understand. We need to have our own things that we fund. That's what I'm saying about the corporate. We need to develop our thing that works for us. Everybody else has. Right? We have our own things that work for us. We have everything we do. We still have to be going to run to them. Right? You understand me? Yeah. But if we have our own union that will work for us, that we have our health care, we have all these different things within inside that union. But my people, stop thinking that everything is free. No. Anything you want in life, you have to fund it. Have to fund it. And we have to be prepared to do that if we're going to want to get our rights and justice. Because that's the whole that to me our life is based upon. Right. What is our rights in this world? Okay? And the government and the police are supposed to be there to, that's what the government is set up to do, but it's not doing that. So we have to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
So you understand? That's what the government is supposed to be there to do, is to protect, not to be putting out all of these evil things upon us. No, they're there to protect our rights. So that people don't violate your rights, right? And the same thing again, you have children. Again, okay? Talking about children. Yeah, they're supposed to protect the rights of the children. But let us ask the question, right? They say when you take away from the fathers, they can't visit their children, you've violated that child's right. That child has a right to see his father. That child has a right to see his mother. And when you take away that right, you have violated that child's right. What about the child's right? So,
and
mother has a right, the father has a right, so the child also has a right. It's your right to defend that. And that right is that child has a right to see and know his father.
This has been one of the issues, right? That unfortunately has been played out on many times, right? That unfortunately there is no equal standard or justice within this system and society, right? Within this system and society. In other words, the male or the father, the man, right, will always be deemed as the aggressor in every situation, even when there are blatant evidence of of abusive behavior from the mothers, right, or the woman. Yeah, even to the extent of where that mother may be physically harming themselves or putting themselves into danger, it still would be a debatable reason why they should need to take away the child from the presence of that mother. But yet, the father and the courts and the justice system will always feel, say, that the father would not be the appropriate parent until, unfortunately, the death or passing of the mother. Then there would be the consideration of actually involving the father in the process. What type of foolishness is that? What type of foolishness is that? They both the man.
That is what people need to be teaching to the court.
Mm-hmm.
What is the child's right? Because you have violated the child's right to see his father.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you say, "Oh, you ban the father from going from seeing the child,"
mm-hmm.
you ask the child.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ask the child, did he not want to see his father, or did you ask the child, did he not want to see his mother? You understand? Okay? Yes, the child may be young, but the child, as long as the father is not abusing the child, or the mother is not, then, because again, as I said, you're protecting the child's life. And of course, it's not for the father or mother to abuse the child. But if that is not the case, the mother and father have a problem, that's their issue. But the child should not come into it, because you're violating the child's right. At all times, if you say, look, the child can't, look how many children have suffered because they can't see, because their rights have been violated. You with me? And people need to understand these things, okay? Right? And this is one of the things that the Creator has put out there. That's vitally important. The rights of every human being, the rights to exist, the rights not to starve people, right? You know, this thing that they keep putting on people, sanctions. How can you sanction children not to eat or to have the best food? How can you do that?
Well,
You're
this
violating
is
the rights of human beings.
do it, but then again, this is the type of thing that they feel that is justified and right to blackmail people into.
No justification for it. I mean, look, even in Islam, it tells the Prophet said, no, you don't do that. Don't violate. You don't starve people. Okay, you don't do it.
But this is what they would do. This is what they would do.
You feed them. Right? Did you make the food out there that you're going to say you're going to stop the people from having food? You follow what I'm saying? Right? So we need to understand these things. Let's look, the rights of a human being. And that's why we're saying these people keep violating the human rights of the people of this world. And one of those big fights is the children's rights, that fathers are suffering because they cannot see their child. You know? And in the light of my good who, as I said, he married a woman in the West Indies, brought her over here, right? After she's been here for a couple of years, right? Put a ban on him seeing the child. Man loved the child. I know he loved the child. He was, because the child had an illness and he was like, always very protective. The woman banned him. Put up situation that they banned him from seeing his child. What kind of nonsense is that?
Yeah. All these accusations and everything that is put up there. And the sad thing about it is that everybody probably knew that person before, and the relationship that they had with their children, and then obviously it is being used as a tool to hold a person in place as such. Yeah. This is why so many men, right, they probably decide, you know what, I'm not putting my children through that, so therefore they just stay away.
You understand what I'm saying, right?
They
You know
just
what I
stay
mean? Because
away because I said there's no way I'm going to allow somebody to be putting me through a situation, and then my children are going to see me go through that. So you know what, I prefer to just stay away, yeah, rather than let my children see that. But obviously the story would probably say, oh, you see how your father, or even mother in some cases, has abandoned you. Yeah. And that could be the scarring for a lifetime again.
it's time for like that. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
mm,
You know.
mm,
So this is something I want to
mm,
highlight, because
mm,
eh, I think it was Marcus Garvey in the session before you came on. I think it was Marcus Garvey's son was
mm,
about our situation, and our connection with Africa, and all these sort of
mm,
things.
mm,
And the man is so on point. You know what I'm saying? And
mm,
that's why I keep raising the idea, the understanding of our people to understand what we have, what we're giving up, what
mhm,
we're running away from, right? And that's something we should be pushing,
mm,
pushing to be there,
mm,
because there's there's great wealth there, wealth beyond measure. We should be living like you know, imagine that continent, right,
mhm,
has the ability to reach the $150 trillion economy. Imagine the kind of life that the people, they shouldn't be living the kind of poverty that we're living in.
mhm,
We have a continent that is got a value over $150 trillion, and we're
mm,
living in squalor.
mm.
It's a sadness, man. My brother, you know, I
Listen,
don't know about these.
obviously, and what you're saying, right? This is why I like about the morning show. Letting off what you need to let off, right? Even if you said it 100 times or whatever, sometimes you just need to just let off. Now, this is the thing. This is my take on what you just said there. We know and we've heard of the mismanagements of many a society and many a place. Like, and we're gonna direct it to the African continent by many a leader. Mismanagement. And the thing is that even though they may be benefiting, just like how many of our current current leaders in the Conservative Party and their wives and family are benefiting from the financial appropriations, right? And I'm sure that later on it will be brought up, and that they will be held accountable in one way or another, right? But by then they would have fled the country. They're definitely going to flee the country. But we do not address it at the time. We do not address it at the time, and it's not being addressed at the time. And the reason why it's not being addressed at the time, my brother, right, is because although they may be there as saying that they're representing the country, but outside of that, beyond that, they are part of a global network, right? This is why you don't get the average person off the street all of a sudden come up and be president of a country, right? This is why you don't get the average person off the street come up and say, right, I'm going to be the leader of a political party. Yeah. They are chosen before. They are chosen before they even get into the party to say, we want you to be this person and that position and everything else. And we will nurture you through. It's not a one man show. Right? It's not a one man show, because that's the times when you see certain things like coups happening. Right? And
you see, there's a lot of guidance out there, my brother, for us, okay? And I know a lot of people beating down the Bible, the Quran, and so forth, okay? But people need to study it within the light, the true light of what it is, okay? And one of the things is, right, there was a situation where the people in Israel was ruled by the creator was their king, and the prophets was just like the what do you call it, the prime ministers or whatever, you know what I mean? Okay, and the people had an issue with that. Okay, they had an issue with that, so they went to the prophet and said, look, we don't. Why can't we just have a king like all the other people? You know what I mean? The other people have a king that comes and rule over them and so forth, So, I mean, people need to read that part of the Bible, and then they will see what we're under, because this country is under that same thing, right? Okay? So, apparently, the story went as that the creator said, well, okay, you know what? Give them a king, because I'm the one who has created them, and I'm the one who has given them everything they want, right? And I'm the king. So if they want, I give them the freedom. Their freedom to choose. If they think they want somebody who from the earth who will rule them, I can give them that person rule them, right? But the creator has made laws and rules and regulations. But they said, okay, fine, that's what we'll do. But tell them this. When that person comes, he will he will oppress you, right? He will take your men, put them in his armies to fight his battles, your women to do these things for him, and so forth. It's not the same thing here, where the person who is the key head of this place say, we are their subject. That means they own us. You understand?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it goes on to further to say, look, tell them, right? Because they object to the person the creator choose for them to be king. Tell them, no. Because they say, no, what he doesn't, this person who the creator choose, he's not draped in gold. He's not very rich, like, he's not like, we want somebody like Donald Trump to come and think, you know what I'm saying? People say, no, that's not the way you choose your leaders. You choose your leaders, a person who's got stature, who is wise, like the king, like the king of Ethiopia at the time, right? He said, in this man's land, nobody is treated badly. Nobody is oppressed. Okay, that's how you choose your leaders.
Well, some one of the hold on. Now this is the thing, because like I did a course one time, and it's called was it self-expression and leadership, right? And while doing that course, you had to fulfill certain tasks. And one of the tasks, one of the first knee-jerk tasks that we were given, right, was to give our projects away. Right?
Yeah.
And then it was a case of that you had to let go of ownership. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are too many of us who are glory seekers. look what I've done. Look at what my achievements are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in doing that task there, letting it go. And then, even to say in some cases, we were told to walk away from the project.
Cut off because
Yeah. We was told to walk away from the project.
I'm on the mobile phone.
Why you was on your mobile phone?
I'm listening to my radio.
Frame one.
Sorry?
Blue frame phone. Yeah.
Blue frame phone?
Yeah.
Is that a police officer with you?
The radio, I'm listening to the radio.
Is that a police officer with you, Brother Akram?
No, on there. The radio. I'm listening to the radio.
Yeah, so I was told to actually leave the project.
No, it's a radio.
Are you on the phone to the emergency services?
No, it's a radio station.
Right.
So I'm just listening to it.
You have your driver's license on you, sir.
When we was told to leave the services, we was also told that we had to exactly be the first to commend those who take over. Right? We could observe what was happening, but the leadership element was to nurture and to build those around us, to build those all around us, right? To build those up so that they could be the ones that would be pushing the project forward. So it's a case of that the leaders are not necessarily the ones that take the project right through. Right? They're not the ones that actually say, this is mine. They could be presented with a task and then they could bring together other people, other participants to fulfill the task. A lot of us fail to realize what true leadership is. A lot of us fail to realize what true leadership is. True leadership enables us to be and to achieve betterment for ourselves and our communities. Where many of us fail in leadership is that the leadership does not allow you, it does not allow you to be Kingman. Right? True leadership doesn't allow you to be selfish, single-minded, right? Or self-centered in any way whatsoever. It does not work. It will not work. It will not work. And once you realize that this is one of the failings of many of our attempts at what we would say is leadership, is because you're following a falsification of what has been put to you as leadership. And that's the truth. That's the truth, my people. Right? We are here on the galaxy of ForWe.net. We've reached our midday meditation period, right? And I want us to really bask ourselves into that. Right? So don't feel that you are failing in any way. Set your tasks. Ensure that your tasks are there for you to fulfill. Set your tasks that you are ready to do what you need to do. Put yourself in a position that you could be there on a voluntary basis. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Make yourself available. Make yourself available for you, yourself, and for others as well. This is the Blacknificent Show on galaxyofwe.net. Right, moving to our midday meditation now. I know that is a little bit past the time, right? And we'll see how everything is going to pan out. We know how things are going to pan out, and we'll see how everything works out with that as well. Okay, right. Anyway, Galaxy, it's your time now. With our midday meditation here on the galaxyofwe.net on the Blacknificent Show, right? Allowing yourselves that time of oneness, self-centering, how can I put it? Yes, self-rejuvenation at this time, right? Remembering that we're going through a time of seasonal change, right? So let's do all our check-ins, right? If we have to do a mind check-in, a body check-in, right? Life check-in, right? Let's just review. Let's just view ourselves in the successful side of life, and let go those things that need to be let go. Just put yourself in that position right now. So let's just journey into those things there, right there, because right now, some of us need some fix up things here, right? I know I played this before, and I'm gonna say where I got it from as well. I got this one from our brother Quaker, right? I got it from our brother Quaker on Sunday, right? So I did take this one from you, my brother, and I say thank you once again. On the grand risings of life itself. Let's go into our midday meditation this show.
Is it I'm going to work and I'm a mother and a wife? Is it I'm always here when you're in need from strife? Is it the way I walk that makes you turn your head and stare? Or is it the pools of my eyes that make you want to stay hypnotized? Phenomenal woman that I'm phenomenal woman. Phenomenal woman that I'm phenomenal woman. Excuse me, brother, do you recognize that you decide to be with that woman? You can have a powerhouse by your side. Do I offend thee? Please don't turn and walk away, 'cause there's nowhere for you to hide when the truth is staring right at your face. Phenomenal woman that I'm phenomenal woman. got a secret that I wanna share with you. Please open up my heart. You can see one night. Strength of 1,000 lives, love that won't be denied. We wanna be glorified. Make sure you're satisfied. Got a secret that I wanna share with you. Please open up my heart. You can see that I'm one night. Phenomenal one night. I've got a secret that I wanna share with you. Please open up my heart. You can see that I'm one night. Phenomenal one night. Don't you know that
It is your fault, yeah. So you're being distracted in the studio, yeah. Anyhow, you may also say greetings anyhow to everybody. So you see your microphone there? That's him. All right. As we come on to our midday meditation here on the galaxyofwe.net.
Greetings.
There you go. All right. So our sister has joined us in the studio here for our afternoon session. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right then. Right. Right. Let's continue with our midday meditation here. Hold on, let me just line this one up here for you, and I'll put this one on. Yes, this one. Yes, sir. Okay, here we go. Oh. Levels.
On the love day. Just like the rising morning sun. My thought of you has just begun. There's no space for anything, only me and you, and the joy my full heart brings. I know it will be true. Cha 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 chiva on a lovely day. Cha 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 chiva. And when I think of you sometimes on a lovely day, I wish the memories in my mind never fade away. And if I say I love you now, know it will be true. Let's start a brand new world and let it grow for me and you. Cha 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 chivo, on a lovely day. Cha 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 chivo, never fade away. Whoa. On a love, yeah. When I think of you sometimes, wish the memories in my mind never fade away. If I say I love you now, know it will be true. Let's start a brand new world and let it grow for me and you. Cha 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 chivo, on a lovely day. Cha 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 chivo, hope it never fade away. Like the rising morning sun on a lovely day. My thought of you is just begun, never fade away. There's no space for anything, only me and you. And the joy my poor heart brings, know it will be true, yeah. On a lovely day, I hope it never fade away. Whoa.
Right, here we are now. We're on this one. We're flowing now. We're flowing now. This is good.
I remember the times when we used to sit in the park, holding hands together. I never should have gone away and left you like I did, girl. I thought you'd take me back, but I was just a little bit late. I was far away. I know, yes I am. Oh, yeah. My lonely days and my lonely nights, girl, on the outside looking in, dreaming of holding you tight. Well, I guess I've had my day, you let me go my way. It's me who has to pay. A loser, they call me, but now I'm a winner. Yes, I am, yes, I am. I was born a winner. Yes, I am. Oh, born a winner. You don't have to tell me 'cause I know. Oh, my lonely days and my lonely night, girl, on the outside looking, dreaming of holding you tight. Well, I guess I've had my day, you let me go my way. It's me who has to pay. A loser they call me, but now I'm a winner. Oh, if you could hear me calling, would you stop what you were doing? Hurry over and see what's going on.
You should see me crying. Would you assist in mending a heart that has been broken?
It could be you.
So we never have to worry.
Oh, live on. Oh, we're old and great.
We still in this way. Never have to worry.
Oh, live on. Yeah. Live on. Yes. Oh, I know what I am feeling. Still can't explain the meaning, but it's pure joy whenever you're near.
I know what you are feeling. Same thing I am facing. That seems like you. Knowing someone cares. Oh, it could be you. With a life so free, never have to worry. Oh,
Oh,
we still be this way, never have to worry.
oh, just live on.
You
Oh,
we way, never have to worry.
oh, I know what I am feeling. Still can't explain the meaning. I feel joy whenever you're near.
See, I know what you are feeling. Same thing I am facing. Love seems like new. Knowing someone cares.
Oh, it could be you. Me.
Well, I'm so free, never have to worry.
Oh,
We're still in this way, never have to worry. You.
oh, na 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 na. One of these fine days, we're gonna meet again. There won't be no denomination. One of these days we're gonna meet again with people from different nations. One of these fine days we're gonna meet again. There won't be no denomination. One of these days we're gonna meet again with people from different culture. I'm pressing on right now to the mark of the higher calling. There are obstacles in my way, but I won't worry cause the wicked has fallen. And the King of Kings is alive. I'm adhering to my master calling. Though I see tribulation and strife, forever his praises I'm singing. One of these fine days we're gonna meet again. Mount Zion, the highest region. One of these days we will meet again. Get ready for repatriation. One of these fine days we will meet again in peace and harmony. One of these days we will meet again. One aim, one destiny. My yoke might be hard, but Jah promised to lighten my burden. Only in Jah do I trust. He's the only solution to the system. And our freedom is a must, no matter how the heathen fuss and fuss. Peace and love and unity is the key to continued survival. One of these fine days we will meet again in peace and harmony. One of these fine days we will meet again. One aim, one destiny. One of these fine days we will meet again, and there won't be no denomination. One of these days we're gonna meet again with people from different nations. No, no, no. Oh, no, 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 no. One of these days, yeah, 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 yeah. How good and how pleasant it is to live in love and unity. No fussing, no fighting, just hydrant uniting in peace and harmony. The blessing of God is forever. The works of the wicked can't prosper. There's one thing that I desire. Jah mercy is what I seek after. One of these fine days we will meet again. Mount Zion, the highest region. One of these days we will meet again. Get ready for repatriation. One of these fine days we will meet again in peace and harmony. One of these days we will meet again. One name, one destiny. One out. Oh, these days.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's go her out. I seen heaven. See her. She just brought me right away. I see her every day. I love to see her smile. I love her sexy style. We were face to face, and to my surprise, she was heavenly. I was so blind, connected to her face. She is heavenly. Now I've seen what there is to see. I know who I wanna be. Yes, I have a dream. She made it clear to me. Some people will go, some people will stay. But it's clear to see she was meant for me. We were face to face, to rise. Yeah. When you have trouble, don't cry. Oh no, no. Just remember that God is standing by. Hold on, yeah. When you have heartaches, don't cry. Oh no, oh no. Just remember that God is standing by. Sometime when you're burning down, just remember God is standing by. Thank you, Lord. So there's no need to cry. Oh, oh, God is standing by. Thank you, Lord. So to worry and don't cry. No, no.
Back in it, back here.
Don't cry.
How many times have we heard that one, man? Midday meditation this strong here. Boy, I tell you, there's so many things that's happened over the last 7 days. You just have to just take your time and just ease through it, isn't it? Ease through it. Let's be aware of the changes that are happening as well, and the conversations that we can be having amongst ourselves, right? So this midday meditation. I'm not often I dedicate it to somebody or something, right? Because we take it for our own personal journey. But this one here, I'm gonna say to my cousin there, Leonard Brown, right? And I say, well, you know something, in your journey, may it be peaceful. May it be peaceful. And I'm not gonna say I'll see you soon, because I'm around for quite a while now. I'm gonna be around for quite a while. And yeah, ain't that so, Sister Sandra?
Yeah.
Huh? We intend to be around for quite a while yet to come.
Definitely.
It's like quite a while, you know. So you know, as I say, I'm joined it live in the studio this afternoon with our sister Sandra. So if you want to have a conversation with our sister Sandra, she's a bit closer rather than over the waters, right, at this particular moment. So she's cooling out. She's cooling out in the UK at
Defrosting.
Defrosting.
The other one.
Defrosting. If you was on the other side, you'd be defrosting. Over here, you're gonna catch yourself a cold, I tell you, with the way our things are up and down, up and down.
Yes, yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it? Yeah. So yeah. So we got our sister Sandra I was gonna say office there, in the studio with us this afternoon. Right, let's go into our next segment. The next segment is the ancestral voices. Ancestral voices. Now, this is a time when we look at the blueprint of those who have gone before, those who are with us, and those who are to come. The conversations that set the foundations for betterment and understanding or understanding through the process of the meditation. That gives us time to open up ourselves to the new learning. When we do our inner journeying, for ourselves, right? One of the things that I should be encouraging you to do as well, especially if we're coming into this time now of where we're cooling down. So we're going to be intensifying our meditation process. And what I encourage you to do is to write down whatever comes up for you. Get some clarity. Because even that in the thoughts, you'd be surprised how many thoughts will come to your mind, or you be in the thought process, and then all of a sudden the thought has disappeared. So you should get into this practice of journaling, right? So get yourself a specific book or pad, right, for journaling, and then just make sure that you write down what needs to be addressed. You might even start with 100 different tasks to actually do, or just thoughts that inspire, that you find inspiring, things that you come across during the day as well, right? We're there. We got our mobile devices, and we can utilize those to even encapsulate some moments, something that you find interesting at the time, right? And you can use that as part of your end of day review as well. Okay. Anyhow, so let's go into our next segment, the ancestral voices. This Strong's ancestral voices, right, is inspired by a conversation I was watching. And it is, man to man, right? Challenging perceived masculinity. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because we need to have that conversation about masculinity, the expression of it, and the fact that men don't really express that in a way verbally and share exactly what's going on with themselves. In tune with possibly the things that was happening for our young brother, right? In tune with what's happening also for many a young man, and mature men as well. So let's open up that discussion. I was speaking with our sister Sandra earlier on about this, leading up to this. And I was stating that also that, whereas we are very aware of the different mood swings of a female, right? And but somehow the male doesn't have that space to have any mood swings in that way there, or it's always deemed and received as being a negative. So without further ado, and I'm coming in midway into the conversation as well with this as well, right? And it's a video which is called Man to Man, Challenging the Perceived Masculinity, right? And it's a conversation between three brothers, Okay, so we're going to come in on in the second half of the conversation here, and I hope that you'll enjoy this one as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's go in and invite to our table of discussion Black Love. You know, more to them is not his path. You can hear?
I can. Not in here. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, better.
Okay then. Yes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, crazy shoe game. Weaving the shoes. Uh, I don't know. I like that one. Okay. Right, right, right. As our ancestral voice is this strong. Unusual, isn't it? And it's unusual to hear our conversations from our brothers. Okay, you got yours up? That's it. That's good. That's good. All right. Come a bit closer. Come a bit closer to you. No, 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 not you. Bring the thing to you. That's it. All right. Unusual to hear that level of conversation, isn't it?
Mm.
And the thing, you know, this is what we have to do, because I know, like, when we started, even like with the Black Power support group show, there was some of the brothers who were expressing that they thought, oh, you know, we're gonna have all these conversations on the radio, and it took a few strongs before somebody actually came in and then, you know, was able to actually express themselves.
Mm.
And the reason why that is because it's a conversation or level of conversation that is not usually heard, right? This is why I selected this segment, a conversation by two individuals hosted by one person there.
Mm-hmm.
One is a music director, an artist, and the other one is a current like football player, American football player, right, who recently retired. And to hear that conversation of what they needed to express, right, is definitely necessary. They're in that transitional period of heights to low. So they're coming off the back of their success now.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And they're acknowledging it. The changes. We and I put it in context of that, we're going through this seasonal change here. There are, we've had the summer and we come into the winter period. And the reason why I'm bringing this in is because we have that change as well. We have that change
as individuals, individually or collectively, male and female.
Individuals.
Okay.
Individually, right? Whether we recognize it or not, right? And the thing is that because of we've been carrying that theme of what we need for the reparatory preparation. And this is one of the elements that I feel that we overlook very, very much within our own communities, right? That we are not attuned to what exactly is happening with us at any time, and we are reactive, right? And there's a season of it, of like around about January, February time. Relationships seems to go left, right, and center. So this is why I'm preempting all of that, because we come into the holiday period now. There's some holidays that are coming up, right? And it can be challenging. It can be challenging, right? But if we are aware of our roles and what we of the expectations of the type of conversations that needs to be had prior to those vacation times, and obviously the changes that most of us are going through anyway, I feel that it may alleviate the pressure of over the holiday periods.
So I have a thought or a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in relation to the clip which you just shared with the family, do men have those conversations amongst yourselves, or is it that you needed a third person to help to expand or facilitate? Yeah. And it's very similar, like you said, in terms of the Black Fathers and the radio show, when it was the third or fourth before the conversation started to expand within that arena, as in those that envelope was pushed.
Right. I would say only in a crisis situation, mainly, that you would probably hear these type of things.
Okay.
Right. When I say crisis situations, when something has happened, post something happening, arguments, breakdown of relationship, and then all of a sudden everything is just spilt out. Oh, this and they never listened to you and all this, and communication was difficult and all this type of thing there. And yet those type of conversations, which is necessary prior to that, right, is never really had. Or even if it has been had, there's a lack of a clarity around what exactly was wanted or needed from one party to the other party. So therefore, I'm just bringing in parts of the elements of the possibilities of what could be happening as well. Just to make the passage more smoother bringing awareness as well, bringing awareness. We had a conversation on the side while the video was playing, and it was a question about the God element in the conversations, wasn't it?
Okay.
Right. And I asked the question, where does the God element come into the conversation? Because, and the reason why I asked this question is because when I'm hearing some, like especially from the Americans, they always put the God is guiding me, you know. So it's like that person, God's will, and you know, and the results are because of God, right? And in many ways, I find it disingenuous in some ways, in the sense of that if you're a person and you're doing your best to do what you need to do, right? Irrespective of the faith, your faith, and because obviously there's no guarantee that this other person or the persons that you're working with or for is going to be of the same faith anyway, right? That where does the God element come into it, and the effort from that person? Because if it was that case, then you just sit back and let God do it, and then you would just get the results, wouldn't you?
So there's two things on that. So it's not only the Americans. I know that I've picked up on it in relation to especially the athletes and all those who do well, predominantly often here with Jamaica, but often from other athletes in other countries, that they do say before they accept the gold medal or they're talking about their achievement of the day, that it was good, thanks to God. So they give thanks to God. So for me, that used to always bug me, potentially in the same way as it bugged you. And then I started to unpack it. So they're using the word God because that's where they are at this moment in time. And that's the level of their vibration, and that's the level of their understanding. And maybe as individuals, some of us will have looked at some of those difficult questions of who am I? Why am I here? Sometimes when we look at who am I and why am I here, we start to unpack the religious aspect of it in terms of why do we do what we do? Why do we pick up the Bible rather than the Quran, rather than any of the other religious texts? Why do we pray? And how do we pray? And what do we perceive God to be, or what do we perceive to be our religious leader? So I have done some work for myself, on myself, with that thought process. And in doing that work, I no longer get hung up, and I'll use the word hung up, on individuals who say thanks to God, because for them that is where they are at this moment in time and their understanding. I would say thanks to, and in some senses, I know that there's I'm a spiritual being connected to energy, and there is a greater being than myself. But sometimes if you stand up in front of an audience called X millions of people because you've just won something, or you've just achieved something, if you use that type of language, they may look at you as if to say you are cuckoo or strange, because most people understand that whether it be any of those religions, God, Allah, etc., they understand that as a concept. I just take away the God for myself when I'm listening and say that they are giving thanks to someone greater than themselves for the achievement that they have had and for the success that they've had. So they're not undermining the work that they've put into it in order to get there, but they're also accepting that they couldn't have done it on their own. So it's not that it's their family. We know that their family, those who do have families, would have given them the time and the space so that they could become single-heartedly and working on that trajectory to achieve whatever it is that they're achieving. But it's more the fact that they are saying thank you. And I know earlier on you spoke about journals and keeping a journal
journaling,
and how important that is. So in keeping the journal, you may hear whispers, and you spoke about writing everything down. So I'll just use the words, you may hear a whisper that it could be a dream, it could be whilst he's walking, it could be the fact that you've been silenced and you slow down. So you hear something and you can just write it in your journal. And in writing things down, you can then review it and then get a different appreciation about that said subject matter, whereby you can start to unpack that thought. But if you've not written it down, how can you unpack something that you've not written down?
Yeah, because it's capsulating the thoughts of the moment.
Yeah.
Right, because there's many a times when things just flash through your mind, brilliant statements and words of power, and then you try to remember it 10, 15 minutes later, and it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
And some of us may say, "Oh, it's my ancestors who's speaking to me." Something. Our brain is one of those things that it attaches itself to anything and everything. Imagery is my thing. I can visualize very well, right? But some of us are Wordsworth. I know you read quite extensively, right? So a lot of us are words, and whatever works for you, you should try to put it into a way of collating that. This more I would say on when I was doing my power walk earlier on, I came across a poster and I glimpsed at it and I thought, oh yes. I think it was Kino.
Okay.
It was recently in one of the not documentaries, one of the programs on Netflix. It was on the Top Boy, and as I saw his image, it kind of I was reflecting on his journey over the last few years, where he was accused of like a sexual assault and everything, and then all of a sudden they're putting him up as a poster person for one of the sporting brands now, and I thought, wow, like for a young man to go through that journey and experience what he has experienced, and I thought, well, you know what, at least he's still standing, and I'm sure that I've heard of him like thinking of like suicide and all that business there, because it can be very, very difficult on one, and then as I was walking past, I thought, you know what, let me just take a picture of that, because obviously at some stage it's going to disappear, isn't it? So I've just collated that. I've just got that photo so that it collates to what I was thinking of the time, and these are the things that we need to capsulate for ourselves, right? That moment of like being with whoever, whatever. You could even be with somebody, for instance, we could be in the studio here, right? We take a few photographs, but it will always be in our memory of that moment. We are here, and everything else, or lead up to this, or whatever happens after this, and then it encapsulates that moment, that thought. We are, and I think it was stated within that video that I played there, that we are continuously evolving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So each moment is never repeated. It's never repeated. Whatever you're doing right now is going to be a step towards wherever you're going, whatever the destination is. You know what I mean? The only thing that you could probably control is your breathing in and breathing out. Yeah?
So I would say that the breathing in and breathing out, yep, that's unconscious. But consciously, there are other things that you can control internally. This is whether or not you are prepared to do the work.
A clarification.
So, what do you tell yourself? In the clip that you just shared with the family, the brother was saying that he gets all angry. This is the one that played football, gets all angry, and then at the end of the day, he doesn't understand. So that means there's an emotion, but he doesn't know how to release it. And then the family, whoever is around at the evening, they get the brunt of it. His expression. But if he's not telling himself, if he's not taking time out to have that conversation with himself, then the rest of the world will get what's happening inside, it will be manifested outside. So he's angry at the situation. He's not had a chance to voice his thoughts or his opinions. So then by the time he meets up with friends, family, children, wife, whatever, mother, they get the tail end of his reaction. By the time it's out, you can't then retract it, because then now you have to have a conversation, an adult to adult conversation that helps to unpick and or understand why did you say that?
Right. I'm going to go by my experience of playing. I used to play American football as well. Playing that sport there, you are in a continuous, and to put it graphically, you're basically putting yourself into a car crash every time. So you take hits or give hits on another individual, right, for up to 3 hours continuously, right? And then you're taking people out. You're in that aggressive mode for that amount. Now, some people don't switch it off. Some people takes a time for them to actually even get into that mode of that they can actually go in and tackle somebody, right? And this is the thing, that some of us are so traumatized within that type of game or that situation. And remember that being a professional player is completely different to being an amateur. We can laugh it off. They're talking about millions now. They're talking about they're earning their living at this type of thing. So therefore, they're going to be in a completely different level. I don't want to put aspersions upon the young brother, but if there's a drug element as well, if he's been playing and taking drugs, like for instance steroids, which is a known component that gives you into that state of roid rage that we used to call it when we was in the gym, right? That people would just get angry for no reason, and when I say angry, really aggressively angry, sometimes we'd have to hold them down, It literally was like that when we was like just training. So imagine if they're playing a game and they're putting themselves into a car crash every time, and then they got that enhancement of like steroid, backed up steroid condition as well. If you're doing that for year in, year out, then you're going to put yourself into a home situation or a humble situation. Trust me, the dog is going to bite. Sometime that dog is gonna bite, especially if you don't know how to control it, right? Or it just happens all of a sudden, and then if you're going to make a statement, and what hype was a red flag for me for when he was saying that, I don't know why it happens. That's a red flag for me, right? Because even me doing like the martial arts and everything, I knew how far I can go. I know how much I can hurt somebody, right? So I had control of whatever situation. There isn't a situation that I can face that I can say that I honestly say that, oh, I lost my mind there. I don't know what I was doing, right? Because I've conditioned myself to be in that position. You understand? Whether they go through that type of training, I don't know. But all I know is just be aggressive, get the job done, and and that's how when I was playing, that was the results of that. So for that young man to be saying something like that, I'm sure that has never been addressed if he's going to make a statement like that as well.
So I know I've watched, I've not watched it all, but just doing a bit of that channel surfing, and they were talking to NFL players, and it was in the classroom situation. So they were getting, and they were talking about actions and reactions. I didn't watch the whole of that segment or that, but it was interesting that you're saying whether or not he's going to be getting the, they're going to be having the conversations. And I think the way that the sport and sports in general have evolved and are evolving, that these conversations are being had. The question is whether or not, how do you handle it? And whether or not, as you said, he's taken it on board, or there are other issues. So I know that I've not listened to the whole of that clip, but it goes back to my initial question in terms of, do men in general have those type of conversations outside of having a trained facilitator or someone in the mix? Because if you don't have that opportunity to let loose, then you don't have to be an NFL player. You just have to be the average person on the street.
As I say, that the only time I would feel that most men would actually speak their truth is in a situation of where they've needed to, right? Like with a doctor, possibly, counseling, right? Not even with their parents, I would say, right? It would be very, 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 very rare, very rare that you will have a real conversation, right? Even for myself, to be even sitting here in the studio, to have a conversation and to be expressive of the way how I am, right? It's taken years for me to even develop my language or speech around my expressions, right? And I know that I'm very aware that there are many men who have never even developed their speech or their self-expression, right? Because they just haven't not put themselves in that space, or they've never been in a space of where they can actually express themselves, without being judged, without being called like out of character, or man up, right? Or you're weak, right? Or you're aggressive, or all these type of different categories, and you think, well, where do I win? Which way do I turn? Right? And then they've got this ideal utopian of, well, this is a man who knows himself, right? And you think, well, I know myself, but I'm just a different man. But you're not that man. You understand? Yeah. You understand? And I know, and I do know that it happens to women as well. It does happen to women, right? That, wow, that is the woman type of thing. And you'd think, well, I'm a woman as well. You understand? So, but in saying that, we have to be comfortable. We have to also be comfortable in the listening and give space for listening as well. We have to do that. We have to do that. Yeah. And yeah, I'm going to open up the line 0203-289-6504. The lines are open for conversation, right? We've got our sister Sandra live here in the studio with us, right? And we are also live on the Facebook, on the Blacknificent radio show, and also on the YouTube as well. So you can join us on there. And we're also on galaxyfwe.net on the Facebook as well. So if you want to join us on there, you can join and join the page and listening and watching as well as we're doing our show live here in the studio, right? Anyhow, let me give you a little 5-minute break so you can get yourself together, formulate your questions, and we can have a conversation.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Jah will never deceive me. No, no, no. Though it's hard to be, man still I carry Jah load, even though it's a heavy load. The road is rough, but I'm still loading on. Temptations may come my way, trying to break my flow, but I'm still loading on. They tried to slander my name, thinking they would activate all the fame and fortune from this, but they won't prevail. Is willing to give time to rise and shine. No one stands in your way. Really, who can stop the hands of time when the future's in display? I believe sun's gonna shine for me one day. I believe sun gonna shine for me one day. Jah is my source. When the evil come around me with force, He will never deceive me. He will always protect me. When the evil come around me with force, He will break asunder all the teeth of plunder. He'll destroy my enemies. He'll deliver me from the adversaries that seek to see me fall. And though through the valley of death, I won't fear, no, I won't fret. God is always with me. I believe just gonna shine for me one day. I believe just gonna shine for me one day. Yeah, you know, sometimes when you feel down and you feel like there's no hope out there, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And when you feel like you're the worst of the worst, there's someone that's worse than you are. And the sun shines for each and every one as long as you have faith. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. When it is your time to rise and shine, no one stands in your way. Who can stop the ends of time when the future's in display? I believe sun's gonna shine for me one day. I believe sun's gonna shine for me one
Umamize. One more.
I don't know what's going on, but this is what I'd like to see go on. Beautiful song written by Gary McFarland, sung by Grady Tate. Sack full of dreams. I've got a dream for the world. Peace in the rivers and everywhere. Bridges of steel and love. And the cities that smile. Where empty faces walk by. And hands try to hide all the loneliness. Lighting a cigarette to blow time away. Lost in the noise, lonely as a wind. People on sidewalks with no place to go. And they learn to understand the world of love that I'm dreaming. The world of love, and I've got a dream for the world. Lights flying hope in the summer sky. Corners where children play. Run in the rain. Said I got a sack full of dreams. Streets filled with laughter and toy balloons and people with hearts that care. Who listen for love. Wanting to sing, wanting to care, wanting to share all my dreams for the world. Can they learn?
to understand the world of love that I'm dreaming. The world of love.
Good afternoon, Brother Desmond.
Yes, Brother Ashton. Grand day to you as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm just balancing this thing here right now. That's it. We got you. We got you. We got you.
Sure, you just pick up on my vibes in it because no, well, it's like we have a kind of
kindred spirit.
Yes, I would say that because the funny thing, I rang in when I heard this tune. I don't know it.
Yeah. It's by Donna Hathaway. It's called I think Sack Full of Dreams. Sack Full of Dreams. Yeah.
Right. Well, I was actually thinking about the principle of Mahat in terms of meditation. And first it was compassion. But then this tune just brought me to the point where it was about reciprocity. Now sharing is about exchanging something of mutual interest.
Yeah.
Which is different from giving. You see, the principle of Mahat does not deal with giving. So when people going around giving to think them righteous or whatever.
Right and just.
Yeah, well, that's nothing to do with nothing. That's just to do with your ego.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I've got Sister Sandra in the studio with me this afternoon.
Rise up, Sister Sandra.
Greetings.
Right.
I like your frequency as well.
Did you not throw that one at me as well?
I did.
About the ego business.
Yeah.
I feel that sometimes people confuse justice with their ego. And I suppose compassion with pity. Now, compassion should be something that is practiced in terms of empathy. But empathy is not about pity. It's about having an insight into what that would be like if that was you. And in terms of reciprocity, the question would be then from compassion is, how would I like to be treated if I was in that situation?
There you go.
And what would I be able to exchange? Because you see, when we give things, we defeat the objects of life. Because we take away one's will to achieve their goal. We're not all on the same we're not all traveling at the same speed. So if I want you to travel at my speed, that's just my ego.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I'm going to give you something to bring you up to my speed, then that is destroying who you are. Because it's about you be encouraging dependency.
Right. Now, what you're sharing there, right? And I'm going to hold you on that point there. That point there. There has been many a time that I go to certain things, like I go to a presentation, I could attend a meeting or something like that, and many a time I come out of there, I'm not inspired. I'm probably more confused, right? Whether it be the person who's doing the presentation or the information that is being shared or anything like this, right? And then I would have to really go home and unpack it myself to actually get a full understanding or vibrational connectivity with what's being shared, right? And I find this is also right. And look, I'm going to make this statement now. I am not having a go at churches or anything like that. I'm not, right? Because each person have their choice of how they would like to express themselves in a spiritual way, and their journey is their journey. But when I'm hearing of the way how people express themselves after they've attended the churches, it's like they've come out and they've just been traumatized, right? And then that is what they're living into, right?
Yeah, well, I suppose not to interrupt too much, but you see, what I find with many churches, they are propagating a message of denial in terms of celebrating suffering. And this is the idea that to justify the Roman punishment of their so-called Jesus, then they associate that punishment with their religion. So therefore, if they're suffering or if they have less of life, then they see that as a virtue.
Yeah.
Now, the opposite side of that is that by denying themselves and having less of life, it means a selected few can have more of what is available. So that's just social conditioning.
Yeah.
What I am about is the idea of reciprocity, that I will not make you a beggar.
Yeah.
So there must be something that you can exchange for what I have. Otherwise, I'm merely showing you that I'm better than you because I'm in a position to give you.
You know something. I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm hearing what you're saying. The last piece there, I'm not too comfortable with, right?
Why is that? Why is that?
That I am better than you, in the sense of that. And this is how I genuinely do live my life. I mean, I'm hoping my sister Sandra can testify to this as well. Is that I like to live and live for two others as I would like them to give unto me, right? Like what you were saying before, right? And in many ways, right? Even if I can't do something for somebody, that they would look at me, and it has happened on a few occasions. I won't say a few, quite a few occasions, right? That people will just gravitate towards me just to have a conversation for some reason. Yeah,
I'll second that sentiment as well.
Yeah.
Because I do like conversing with you.
Right. But the thing
there's
is,
a certain what I'd call a calming frequency that you emanate.
Yeah. And in many ways, I feel that is one of my mainstay of who I am, right? I am very open. I am very open to other forms of thinkings and aspects of like how expression of life as well, right?
Yeah, because learning of someone else's view should not threaten what your core values are.
Exactly.
Or principles are.
Exactly.
In anything, it should enhance it.
It's not that I'm going to be embracing everybody's view and lifestyle or anything like this, right?
No.
But still, it is good. It is still good to know, even if you are totally against, or you feel that you're against somebody's lifestyle, to find out what their journey is anyway. Yeah. Is that, would you say that's true, Sister Sandra?
Yeah, yes. I'd,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm in accordance with what you're saying.
Allow Sister Sandra to say something. Go ahead.
You're okay.
No, go ahead.
No, you're okay.
No, go ahead. Well, you're shaking your head for. Don't be shy now.
We
Come on.
We need some balance, Sister Sandra.
Go chat your thing now. Chat it.
No, I agree with
energy.
No, I agree with what both of you are saying, just in terms of, you used the word reciprocity. Brother Aston used the word that from an energy point of view, what he wishes to do is I'll use the word service, whereby he leaves himself open on a level of vibration whereby others are comfortable and or prepared to come and engage without feeling that they won't be heard, without feeling that they are they'll be belittled. And that's this almost comes back to the conversation we were having earlier on, just in terms of communication. How do we communicate? And if you do allow the person you are speaking to, if you do listen to what the person you're speaking to is saying and allow for yourself that open communication, things just move in a better flow. Let's put it that way.
And I feel it's very necessary to have that open mind and heart and spirit to allow things to flow, right? Because this is why I'm like, even the things that I'm sharing here on the Blacknificent show, right? I'm sharing things that I feel that as you rightly say, to enhance our abilities, to empower our communication skills, right? I mean, like even even tapping into your experience of what you've had, the lack of the lack of communication, effective communication, has been one of our detriments over the years, I feel. Right? We've been leaving it outside of our development as necessary for what we needed to have as a foundation and as a fundamental of our ability to communicate. We've left it. I feel we've left it to the academics to speak on our behalf too much. In preference to us expressing ourselves. Yeah,
but I would put that down to the simple fact that our language was brutalized and forbidden, which left us without a voice, because the whole point of language is to find a common bond with each other. And this goes back to, for example, being Greek would not necessarily mean you belong to the same country or national, but you spoke Greek. So if you spoke Greek, you were seen as Greek, regardless of who you were. The Romans, similarly. So the idea of language is one of the core link to others, because it's your main vehicle for exchanging ideas, for forming friendship, and for so many other things. So when your language, or what you'd say your mother tongue, is destroyed, and you then colonize in a sense that a hostile and alien language is imposed on you, then the very fact that you're using that language is itself a badge of shame. So you find that there is a reluctance for one to express themselves in a colonized way, particularly when you're trying to elevate yourself. Now, I give an example of that. I'm working on a project at the moment, and I'm trying to change the narrative, because I find many of the narratives so hurtful, and it minimizes the impact of what happened to us, particularly in the transatlantic trafficking and the brutality on these forced labor farms. That I can't go along with this idea that there was a trade in human beings. I can't go along with there was a system of plantation, because that gives an impression that this is about horticulture. And it wasn't. It was a brutal gulag where the average life expectancy was 7 years. So when we end up with a situation where we're trying to express ourselves in an alien language, which we do not understand the roots of, it then causes a certain level of psychological stress. So that is understandable. And this is part of this idea of reparation. How do you acknowledge that we are entitled to have our own language? I mean, you think recently of the Welsh. The Welsh people went through even some terrorist action to get their language recognized. And this is part of the United Kingdom. So language is a crucial part of being human. And being human, we have these emotional attachments. And language is one of these fundamental things that we need to connect with each other. When I see another Caribbean person, we just say, yeah man, what on? No, I don't have to explain myself when I say that. I feel liberated. I say, what on, brethren?
It does remind me sometimes of when like I've worked in different places, like in Germany or Italy, and I greet another African over there, and then like the people I'm working with, they will look at me and they say, "Do you know this person?" And I said, "Yeah, he's my brother. He's my family." And then we would smile about it, but they just won't understand.
No, they do understand it, but you've taken away the power that person had over you, because you're no longer using his colonized way of being. You're showing a sort of an occasion of liberation, because you can greet another person in a different mode of communication. I once asked a person, I said, "What language do you dream in?" And the person says, "Why?" I said, "Well, my oppression is 24/7 because I dream in English." And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, sometimes I dream in English, but sometimes I dream in Urdu." And that is the beauty of having your own language, because you can escape the psychological oppression even when you're asleep. But if you haven't got another language, even when you're asleep, you're oppressed psychologically. Yeah. This is why it's ironic that after so-called independence in the Caribbean and Africa, the people still adopt their colonial master's language. And some of them even have to be paying for it to this day, like in Cameroon and places like that. They have to be paying the French for using their language or for teaching them their language.
What a shame! What a shame! What a shame!
But then, my question on the back of that, in terms of language, and you pointed out in terms of the Welsh, and they fought for their language. What language, as a black brother, would you wish to adopt, bearing in mind we recognize that our original language from whence we were taken had been wiped from our memory banks? So where would you then go now with the knowledge and the experience that you have to say, okay, this is where I'd like to start?
Yeah, luckily enough, I see myself as multilingual, because you see, I see Patois as my, what I would say, my immediate ancestral language.
Okay.
Because in acknowledging my ancestors, they were turfed off these forced labor farms without money, without land, and sometimes even without clothes, because they had the rags they had during their enslavement is what they were given at the end of the so-called emancipation. And they had to find means of communicating with each other instead of directly to Brakamasa. So in developing Patois, it came a way that they could express themselves much freer than because they were never taught formal English, so English was never going to be grammatic in any sense. So they relied on their own, what you call organic language of Patois, where you mix and blend. And out of that, they were able to construct a sense of identity for themselves. And so when I said earlier that when I see someone from the Caribbean, I say, Wagwan. No, that's not formal English.
No.
But it makes me feel liberated, because I recently went to Jamaica and everything was, yeah, man. I mean, that is not formal English, but the minute you say, yeah, man, depending on the tonation and the way you say it, it conveys a message that is either positive or negative. So I see myself, I mean, I don't speak Patois as I should, because I've been away for a while.
Yeah.
But I do value Patois, because other people struggle to understand it, while those who understand it find it liberating. And I can speak a bit of German as well. Ich war in Deutschland for some 3 Jahre. So I try to learn people's language to see what they're about. I even learn a bit of Urdu.
Okay.
I've learned a bit of French, a bit of Italiana. I'm trying to see if I can get access to learning some African language, but it's not as easily accessible where I'm living. And it's that kind of thing, because you find the people that are coming from Africa, some of them don't even speak their own language, as it were.
Yeah.
Well, that's because of the size of the continent. It becomes a challenge, and the way the continent was broken up, that they were discouraged from, even within one country, speaking the same dialect or language.
Well, this is how they destroy our culture, because culture cannot exist without some form of communication.
Yeah.
So therefore, take away a person's language, you take away a big part of that person's identity.
Yeah.
And this is why we need to be looking at some of these things and see the impact that they've had on us, and maybe even link that sort of linguistic suppression to some form of psychosis. Because it must have left some impact on us. I mean, if you stop Italians from using their hands, they wouldn't be able to speak.
Well, that has been the thing over many generations now. Well, not even so many young generations, because in many ways we have been very lazy around languages anyhow, and communication. We've been extremely lazy about this, right? To the extent of that unfortunately to say, a lot of our young people are incoherent.
Yeah.
Right? That they may be saying some things and you think, what are you saying? Yeah?
Well, it's going to a street level language or locality street level, because it's not even a national way of doing it. Because it's locality. A lot of it is based on identity of the locality.
So they
and if you speak a certain way, then you can be located in a particular community.
Well, they will create, and I suppose that's the way the language has evolved, like you say, within the young people. But if I think about Jamaica and Patois, and whether or not and how it's actually spoken about or discussed in wider society, it's still looked and it's still frowned upon.
Of course it is, because the colonized people, they're the ones with the power in terms of social status and financial sort of security. And there was a time when if you spoke, I don't know, what you call standard English, you would be seen as being civilized. So there's a lot of issues that is linked to languages that needs to be unpacked. Because until we do, we won't really understand how to communicate with each other. I mean, for example, I was speaking to someone the other day and another person joined in, and the person was interrupting me. And I said, it seems that you no longer have any culture because you do not respect the grey beard. I just had to remind him that you should respect the grey hair.
Yeah.
But he had no understanding of what I was saying.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's many a person who I've seen who does that. But I will also, on the other side of that, say that there's many a young African person who will acknowledge you as being elder. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I asked someone recently, I said, well, how did you, he referred to me as Sir.
Sir?
And I said, don't you dare. I said, the colonizer told you to address them as Sir, as a sign of respect. But I tell you, I said, you tell me when the European ever addressed you as Sir. And he thought for a little while, he said, no, never. So I said, well, how did you greet each other before European arrival? And he said, well, it was uncle and auntie and so forth. So I said, well, you've got two choices. You can call me elder brother or you can call me uncle. So he said, okay, I'll call you uncle. I said, well, that means we're family. You're acknowledging me as a family member. And therefore, then we have that level of connectivity and also of that understanding between us without having it been articulated in any way. It's just a given. And that's how culture should enable you to exist. That you know what is expected of you. I heard Brother Akram earlier was talking about right.
I'm hoping he's okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, but he never talked about the other side of rights, which is responsibility. Responsibility and rights, they are brother and sister. Because if you want rights, then the question is, who is going to defend those rights for you? And are you prepared to defend my rights? So therefore, there's a reciprocity that is required there, isn't there?
Yeah.
If you want right, then you have to protect mine, just as I protect yours. But how do I know you're going to protect my rights if I protect yours? And then that comes down to, well, we need to have trust in each other. We need to have some love and respect for each other.
And that is often the challenge that we have when we see one another, that we don't start with that thought process of love and or respect. We may look at it as if to say, because of our inability or our restrictions from a language point of view, we're almost looking at another individual we're looking at them cross-eyed rather than just being open. Let's start with this space called love and let's take it from there, rather than what's my agenda, what's your agenda, let's see if I can outdo you, which may then come back to that word ego.
Exactly. Full circle.
This is why I advocate the principle of Mahat, because I have found these principles to be so life enhancing that I wonder how I existed before the knowledge of these principles.
One of the things, I was in deliberation yesterday, right? And like going through some of the faculties of the ancients there, like Huru, Heturu, Osiris, and all these type of things, and on the and because it was one of those things of that when I started studying about Egyptology, that was one of the things that or one of the questions I asked was, why is it that we all know about Mahat, but we don't know about these other faculties then, right? And it's just what you focus on. It's what you focus on. And the thing is that although you emphasize on Mahat itself, right, being a centering principles, right? But each one of those faculties, each one of those deities, right, was also as equal and as important as well, right? As much as what you would say you could study the principles of Mahat, there was principles around those other deities as well, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, they were there associated with certain gifts and protection and so forth. But the reason why I have settled on these principles for my own personal development is because, you see, it's not always easy to be balanced.
And that was one of the questions that came up, because I said, well, if I said this to other people, of course, look, there's another 72 other elements that you should know about as well, as much as what you know about Mahat. And then the question that came to my mind is that, everyone's going to say, oh, it's too difficult to learn all of them. And I think, well, it would be challenging, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible.
The reason why, as I said about the idea of balance, you see, in balance, even if you apply it and put it into practice in terms of, say, mathematics, extreme cannot be balanced. Therefore, I avoid any extreme position. I am not one of these persons that will support extremist ideology in any form, because it's against the principle of balance. Now, it's easier to balance something when there is reciprocity, because sharing is more balanced than giving, because giving is a one-sided thing. And therefore, that is not balanced. So when I say about the principle of Mahat, you see, the principle came before the laws. And principle was how we were supposed to be governed as free human beings, because the gods were there to work for us.
Mm.
We were not there to work for gods, because we were living the way the principle of Mahat governs the universe. As above, so below. So the gods had to live by these principles as well, just as well as human. It was supposed to be for what's above in heavens, as it were.
So
the nation, the community, the family, and the individual. So everyone knew their responsibility as well as their rights. So I think the idea of then going away from these principles, where people was trying to justify murder, thieving with rhetoric, which was mainly brought in by the Greeks, the idea that you could talk yourself out of trouble, distorted the whole principle of it. So we were no longer self-governed. We then became rule. We were living by rules. Rules were introduced in terms of laws. And you could see where
there's always
the religion, and these rules gave certain people power.
Okay.
Because the rule maker hardly ever obeyed the rules.
Is that not so what's going on today? Or we're not living underneath them type of thing there?
Yeah, if you made the law, why should you live by the law? Why would you want to make any law that controls you?
Exactly.
You make laws to control other people. The boss of a factory doesn't make rules to control himself. He makes it to control his workers.
So true.
So from being free to live by principle, there we would be self-governed. We became governed by others, and usually it was the rich and the powerful, or the most violent. That is sadly how our history has evolved in say the past 3,000 years. We've become, and now we become rule breakers. So we now have chaos. Because we've gone from self-governing to being governed by others to now we're all sort of rule breakers. Everyone is trying to find ways to break the rule.
Listen,
we're not even bending them anymore.
We're under so much pressure. That's the only way the bowl's gonna break. He's gonna break.
Yeah, and that will lead to a new kind of situation, because it can't keep the way it is at present.
That's inevitable. That is inevitable.
Please unpack for me, because you said that we're all looking to break the rules. Or so what do you mean by that?
Well, the rules have become so oppressive.
Okay.
That to obey some of these rules is to condemn ourselves.
Okay.
And when the law becomes so unjust, then breaking them is just.
Okay.
If I'm not being too radical.
No, you're sharing your thoughts, and I will always say there's nothing radical in sharing your thoughts, because there will be others out there that think the same way as you. There'll be others out there that disagree with what you're saying, but we are allowed to do that.
Nobody thinks like this, man.
Stop it. Man is never alone. There's always others. No one has an original idea. Idea is always shared. But because we live in a sort of oppressive rule control environment, it means that to even speak the truth now has become revolutionary in a way, because as I told someone recently, I said, government don't hide lies, they hide the truth. And speak the truth is to be a lawbreaker in many situations these days. You only have to look at this journalist guy. What's his name? Assange.
Assange, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, look at the way the whole media has kept silent about his maltreatment. And all he did was to expose the truth. And yet, that is seen as unacceptable. So we are living in some sort of serious times that we're not allowed to even say some of the things we want to say because there are rules preventing us from saying them. Yeah, so I don't know. But we live by our own principles, so therefore one has to sort of decide which side of the fence they want to be on. And if we obey the rules that are oppressing us, then we'll be forever oppressed.
Okay.
And this is where I think Shakespeare had his dilemma when he said to be or not to be. Do you take up arms against the wickedness that is happening to you, or do you bear it? These are kind of serious questions that is facing our generation. I mean, I'm old now, so I mean, I sometimes discuss this with my 16-year-old to say, well, what's your big idea? Are you going to solve the sort of waste that we're producing? Are you going to address some of these issues that is facing us?
That's the dilemma. That's the dilemma they face right now, isn't it?
But I love the fact that you're having those conversations. You're encouraging him to broaden his thinking, not only from what he's been told within the education system.
That's not an education system, it's a domestication system.
Well, yes, that's what I mean. So
don't confuse the two.
Yes. So he's expanded and taken himself out of that and thinking about how will he solve some of the problems or issues that he's faced upon on a daily basis.
And it's his responsibility now, because I don't know as much as him now. He beats me at university challenge regularly. So no, so it's like I said to him, I said, well, look, you think about the amount of effluence that is discharged every day. I said, where is it all gonna go?
Exactly.
I mean, we have a problem even in Thames water now with all this raw sewage being put in the rivers. I mean, if it's so clean up, it's going to go back to the 18th century kind of pollution.
You mean like the good old days in the Thames?
Yeah, when you throw it on the street.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but little simple things like that. Yeah, think of civil engineering.
But then again, you walk around the streets and it is like that. I can tell you that now. I don't think there's any street that I've gone on and you don't see some dog caca all over the place, man.
Yeah.
That foolishness.
But the idea
is
to show him his responsibility, because I said, look, in Africa, I said, they need engineers. I said, why take the resource out? Why not go there and produce it? I said, anything you want to develop in the next 50 years is going to be developed in Africa. So that's where the resource is. That kind of thing, because what you're going to develop in Britain now, you can't even get rid of the sewage. So what are you going to do with it? They can't even build a road. They've just had to cancel a road. A railway,
away to Manchester, isn't it? So it's and what you're saying is the same thing that Brother Akram would say in terms of the possibilities in Africa.
Yeah.
And it's something that as individually and or collectively, especially with some of our young people who are going through that system, to take that knowledge that they have and push the boundaries on the continent in Africa, where they will get the opportunity to do so more so than they do here. Because if they're left here, they're not left to their own devices. They're shackled and oppressed. And that thinking is not allowed because of so much noise. Whereas if they go to the continent, they will have a better opportunity just from the basics of having that sunshine and having a way of life and a pace of life that can be in some areas a lot slower than what's happening here.
Well, what I encourage him to become is to study like physics and mathematics and so forth, because you see, when you think of Africa and you think of the sort of present sort of climate situation, deforestation, desertification, water shortages, and all these things, Africa has some of the most abundant of resources. So it seems to me that if a young person was to develop the necessary skills, it would be much easier to get someone to go there from, say, who study these sciences in Europe, and go there and apply these sciences in this sort of environment that is rich in resources. Because this is what Europeans and others have done for centuries.
In the past,
Hold on.
And they continue to do so.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna have to hold you on that one, right? Because mainly those remember that within the African continent, right? They've got universities, schools that are very capable of training many of the required skills that is necessary for development in Africa. Unfortunately, the fact that many of the businesses still look towards the Europeanized certifications, right, does not mean that those people who have acquired those are actually capable of working within the African continent. Grassroots.
No, I'm not implying that.
Just a moment.
Okay.
Grassroots education and conditioning, I feel that is one of the fundamental things that is very necessary, right? And the reason why I say that is that it's not everything is going to be available for us to develop, but the principles of what is required can be attained through the education. Yeah, I've seen many an engineer come, and when we've got a project to work on, it's because of my experience of having hands-on work as a craftsman, that I'm able to solve a problem in preference to their, let me go and research this, let me go and do this and do that. Yeah, because I don't know if you recall, Brother Desmond, but years ago, you used to get the sticky alternator, remember, or sticky starter. Remember that?
Yeah.
Right. Now this is what happened, is that we had some apprentices in there, and one of their vehicles broke down, and we brought it into the workshop, and they were trying to get this vehicle started, and they said, I don't know what happened, but it just wouldn't start. Right? And they did for about 3 hours working on this vehicle. And I walked up to it and I said, you know what we used to do in the old days? Right? And I picked up one of the small hammers and I said, turn it over. And then as they were turning it, I just boom, knocked it, and it started. And they all stood in wonderment. I said, stop overthinking things. What's the matter with you? Right? I goes, clean up the brushes, and clean up the contacts. That's all you got to do. Right? And they're going, how did you do? And I goes, this is what we used to do back in the day. I goes, it's not everything is all technical. You understand? Practical is necessary as well. understand?
Brother Aston, this is why what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that knowledge is widely dispersed, but when it comes to us African people, because of our exclusion from a lot of the scientific progress, we've been by and large left behind.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
we don't produce.
Definitely.
We don't produce enough of the necessary skills that we should have, so that we can apply it in a more localized way. What I mean, for example, now if you have 10 students studying, say, at degree level in the sciences, maybe one or two may decide to do their own thing. Now the other 8 will work for multinationals or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So therefore, to produce 2 scientists that will independently go off and do their own thing, you have to produce, say, 10.
Yeah, yeah.
So therefore, we need to be producing thousands every year, so that maybe a couple tens will get together. Now, I know personally someone who did computer science. He was an English guy, and he was able to link up with 6 or 7 other people of like mind and set up his own global company.
Yeah, yeah. It happens. It does happen. It does happen.
But you need the people. You need the people en masse. You need people that would be unemployed, who have these skills but are unemployed.
Listen,
so they can look.
I am. Anytime I'm walking up and down the high street, I'm in despair at the amount of wastes of people that are just walking up and down, and I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, my word, if you was to receive 12 months of training, you'd be such a skilled and useful person. And the thing is that even amongst them, there are some skilled people there. Right, listen, I've got Brother Akram.
Yes.
Brother Akram. Greetings, brother.
Greetings, Brother Akram.
Have you,
Brother Akram.
I hope that you.
Sorry?
I hope that your situation has been resolved.
Yeah, it's been resolved. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
And the rules are do it, and the rules are do it.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, listening and what I'm saying is, I agree with you to some point, but the point is, what I'm saying is, the world is a diverse world, and one of the things that I keep looking at is this little country here. How was it able to conquer the world? You know, and basically, again, as I said, my situation is, I ask myself, if I hadn't traveled, what would have been my situation? When I go back home, I look at this person is a drunkard, this one is drowned, this one is that. If I hadn't traveled, would I have attained the knowledge which I had? And it is so vitally important. Yes, there's people with many skills, and when I went to Africa, I was amazed at people passing degrees and they can't speak the language in which they're studying. You understand? We have some amazing people that people don't understand. We have some amazing people on that continent, right? You can't speak a language, but here you're given a book and other things, and that's what you have to do your degrees in. You know? And they passed it. You understand?
Yeah.
So to me, as I said, I mean, right now I travel around London, and the amount of Chinese here, because the government is not saying, well, okay, we have, but they're sending their people out to also gain knowledge. You with me? Right? No, I mean, yes, I mean, that's why China is the way it is today, because the man who scanned the West, he said, look, you have technology and so forth, right? Right? I mean, our technology is not up to your standard, but you don't have the manpower like we have. So therefore, why don't you lend us your technology, and we will put the manpower, to do things cheap for you. And the West said, yes, okay, fine, we will do that. So now what has happened? China is now number one, because he's now picked up the skills from these people, and along with their manpower, they're now number one. So yes, it is important for us to be exposed to different knowledge. Okay, and this is one of the things that when Islam came up, one of the things that it did, same thing. It meets all this knowledge and so forth. It did not destroy the knowledge. It took the knowledge that it had and enhanced themselves. You follow what I'm saying, right?
That's one of the things that I admire about that faith, is that everyone is learned the fundamentals of education. It's one of those things that, even just to read mathematics, astrological, what do you call it? Astrology. Yeah, they're all taught that, as fundamentals. Yeah,
exactly. So to me, as I said, I picked up this book which says Africa can benefit from the people of the diaspora, and that's why I continue to. And it was a professor in the University of Dar es Salaam. I don't know which professor, but it seemed like he had a lecture talking about the development of Africa, and he pointed out Africa can benefit, and he emphasized on the diaspora, because we out here has developed a certain knowledge skill which we need now to take back. Right? Not that the people there doesn't have certain things, but they don't have that exposure. Right? They don't have that exposure. Right? So that is the difference. So by having that exposure to certain developments that's taking place, it means they can go even further. Right? And that to me, I think is vitally important. And one of the other things that Brother Akram. Yeah.
You see, this is the exact thing that Kwame Nkrumah wanted to do, because don't forget, he was in China, or he was visiting China when he was overthrown by these traitors. So the sort of these ideas were well founded when Kwame Nkrumah became president of Ghana, and he wanted to do what China was doing, because he realized the Western system was not going to help. And China has evolved from that to where it is today, because they apply a different vision and share a different vision from that which these traitors wanted to continue doing, to become a puppet of the West. So the growth of Africa was never really going to take off.
Okay, all right then. All right. Anything to say on that, Sister Sandra?
No, it's I'm just loving the conversation in terms of recognizing the opportunities which are on the continent, recognizing then that as individually or collectively, whether you be young or whether you be wiser, because you've gained that through age, to take the opportunity of going, visiting, seeing, having the conversations with the young people and giving them a wider perspective of the work. And I know the brother was saying, in terms of if you've got 10 people, potentially 2 within that education system will want to go to Africa, that just comes back down to the 80-20 rule. That within that, with many contexts, you'll always get 20% will do what needs to be done, and the other 80% will do otherwise.
Yeah.
So it is a numbers game, but it's, for me, more so it's a case of having that conversation and keeping the conversation going.
keeping that conversation going.
I just say something. You know, as I said, when I went down to Africa, I said, look, you know, I have knowledge to depart, okay? But it's no good me go and sit down with those guys sitting at the corner of the road there, just wasting time. I need to go to the university where people are looking to develop themselves. You know, I said that is where I need to speak to these people, and these people would have had a certain advance in things that they can actually take it back home to their family. You see, right? Because they're of a different standard, and I did that, and I met some good friends there, and one of the brothers, he actually did his master. Well, all of them did their masters there. They didn't come out from Africa. They all did their masters there, right? The university. But one of them, the Americans wanted him to come, and I said to him about the situation of the potential of Africa, and so the group of them form a company, which is because they was in different fields of engineering, right? And they formed an engineering company, right? Which is now one of the biggest engineering company in Tanzania, right? Look, and then they also went on. If I show you the school that they have now also gone and put together, right? You know, and now also they're now also developing foods like great food. So you know, so what I'm saying is the potential is there for our people, right? And what our people need to also understand that the population, it's not me. The world estimates that the population of Africa will be 40% of the world population. 40%. That means 4 billion people, maybe by the end of the century. You know, you cannot understand the ability that continent has. And that is why, you know, it's so important. As I said, I continue to say to people, come together. You know, as I said, those brothers, they came up from university and they work together. So this one is construction, this one is that, but they form a company, which then, as I said, you know, and the same brother, he's the one who actually was the engineer who formulated, and another one who was the contractor. He built my house. You see? So these is why I'm prompting people to look at that. And one of the other thing is, I look at my country where I came from in the 60s. And when I went back in the 7 years later, and I see people who I went to school with on their way to be millionaires, right? Why? Because they took advantage of the growth as it was taking place. And that's why I'm saying we need to be in Africa while it's growing now, to take advantage whilst it's growing. For these people become so powerful that they take everything, and we at the ground floor doesn't have a chance. So we need to get in there now. As I said, that's, you know, as I said, looking from my country, and as I said, when I, you know, 7 years after I left the country, 65, in the 65, and I went back 7 years later, guys I went to school with on their way to being millionaires. Why? Because they took advantage of the opportunities that was coming.
Brother Aston, I have to take my leave now. But nice sharing a couple of an hour or so with you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, if I love you, I give you my time.
You're right. your check is in the post.
Next round.
All right, then, bless up.
Thank you, brother.
Sister Sandra.
Thank you.
And brother Akram.
All right, then. Thank you.
More love, more power.
All right, then. Thank
More
you.
power.
Peace.
Yes, very much.
That's our brother Desmond there, you know. That's what there. And you know, even like hearing your accounts there, right? For me, it is still very important that we realize our value, right? I know that we've been following this theme of the reparations, preparing ourselves for our reparations, yeah. or preparation for our reparation. And this is very important as well, educating and preparing ourselves to be useful for our transitions. Yeah. And even if it ain't us, it's to deal with our young people as well, preparing them for the reparations as well, you know. It's very important that we realize what we can do, what we can have to do for what we need to do. Yeah. There are too many times that we're seeing our young people and our people missing out, being left out, and missing so many opportunities, right? We need to be putting them and pushing them and ensuring that they get out, they get in through the gate as such, right, before it closes on us completely, which in many cases, I think some of us, it has closed on us completely. You know, we're just trapped, totally trapped within a system, or under a system that is not going to be supporting us in our future anyway, or foreseeable future anyway, at this stage. Anyhow, Sister Sanj?
No, no, I was just going to say I agree with you in terms of taking that opportunity whereby we can look at the opportunities, explore the opportunities that are on the continent, whereby we can do for self rather than what we sometimes are doing in this instance, is doing for others.
Doing for others,
we can build those foundations, and recognizing then that there is always a gate, and because we missed it last time, does that mean we're going to miss it this time? We'll only miss it this time if we take no action. But it's to taking the action that will enable us to move beyond.
What action are we going to take?
And that's then that's the conversations that we've been having so far in terms of, from an education point of view, from a not necessarily staying here, but as Brother Akram was saying, in terms of going out there and speaking to the individuals, the brothers that were in the university, that were studying. So when they came out, they became a mastermind, had a mastermind alliance whereby they started their own business, and they were able to serve the community, the wider community, and also themselves within that process. But that would not have happened had that initial conversation and that opportunity that was clearly there, if that hadn't been taken up within that mastermind alliance, with different individuals with different skills coming together in order for that, as they say, the greater good.
You're attending an event over the weekend, is that so?
Not this weekend. That's next weekend.
Next weekend.
Yeah.
In tell the people about it. No.
No, that's just that is an event in Birmingham in terms of business and businesses in Birmingham coming together. Part of it is a networking, but the other part of it is just, for me, it's having that conversation. And if we're thinking about an alliance, there'll be certain businesses, say it's the Greater Birmingham Black Business Conference in 2023. So it for me, I'll have the opportunity of going and having conversations with different Black entrepreneurs. What has brought them to where they are, and the direction of travel that they're looking to go ahead and go forward in. And it also brings me back to, because I went to the Black Market Film and Festival over the previous Saturday. And that, again, when you look around and you see the talent that the brothers and sisters have, whether it was in terms of what they were making, what they were producing, and even some of the films, all the films that were being shown were the producers were all black. And it's amazing that when we come together collectively, we are a power force. When we sit on our own, we are, as an individual entity or singular entity, it's easy for us to get distracted.
And that is the main thing. Pushing ourselves, getting support, right, and putting ourselves out there. It now, like this month here, carved out for ourselves the Black History Month. Right, we're supposed to be putting ourselves out even more, even though we say, look, our history is all year round. But look, while the opportunity is here, let's get out there, right? More so than not. Okay, let's get out there, support those who are doing those things, that are putting themselves and showing their skills, their abilities. Let's get out there and support them, right? Get yourself known. If you're thinking of starting a business, this is a very good time to start the business, right? Let's get it out there. Get your support systems in place, right? Do your networking. Do your networking, because it's still very vital. Because as you know, very, very easily, we could lose each other over here. Very easily, you know. You lose a phone and all of a sudden all your contacts them gone. No, them foolishness.
So it's interesting you say that, because I know that I'd received an email from Black History Studies, and in their celebration of Black History Month, this Saturday, the 7th of October, they've got the hidden history of Africa before the slave trade, because there was a lot that was happening on that continent before then, and it needs to be highlighted.
Is that Robin Walker was running that?
So I'm not sure. It doesn't say who's running it, but it does say. And on Sunday, they've got the Black History tour of the British Museum. So if you've not gone to the British Museum,
with that tour
there with Charmaine, and Mark, it's eye-opening.
Yeah, man.
There's the exhibits, and sometimes we gloss through these exhibits and thinking, okay, but it's just recognizing where the exhibits came from and the impact that it's had, where it needed to be stolen from its origination and placed somewhere else behind a glass tube or in a tapestry, rather than with the people whose energy was actually produced and meant to enhance.
And you get personal escort as well around the place as well.
Yeah, because they're frightened of so many Black people wanting to know, and not expecting us. What do they say in terms of where you're going to be hiding our information?
That's right.
In the libraries, the museums, and in the books.
Yeah. We get personal escort right around the museum. So you're perfectly safe.
Yes. Nothing will happen to you. And where you think that, hang on a minute, I've slipped them. You look up and then there's someone else there that's taken over.
Exactly.
It's a bit like a relay run.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always someone there in your presence. But they do learn a lot from what's been said and the discussions that we have.
Yeah.
And I would imagine and anticipate a lot more than they were told when they were initially applying for that job.
Yeah. Please don't leave stickers of claimed for Africa on everything. Please don't do that. Return to sender. Respect the place, man. Respect the place, okay?
We know that it needs to be returned to sender, but all in good time.
Yeah.
All in good time.
Yeah. Okay then. All right. So anything else that you're going to be engaging in this weekend here for yourself personally?
For myself, no.
No.
Conversations I'll be having, but not necessarily.
So she's
associated.
free. She's free for a date, gentlemen. Right. She said it. She said it. All right.
No, if we think about communication, I didn't say it, you said it.
Oh, there you go. Hey.
You said it.
Anyway.
But no, I've enjoyed our conversation, which is we've spoken about, and we started with that conversation and communication, and how do we communicate? What do we say amongst ourselves, as in the black man? And what do we then? How do we then present ourselves? And then we were joined by Brother Desmond, who just expanded on that. He started with the word how sometimes our behavior is ego, but it's more the reciprocity that he's interested in developing and speaking about. And then Mahat, and recognizing the importance of, for him, just living with that as a principle, as a guiding principle. That helps him when he's making his decisions and having his conversations and communication with the younger generation, his generation, but those that are going to be around him. And for me, that thought process, when we think about the opportunities, Brother Akram and Brother Desmond were both speaking about in terms of Africa, the continent, and the opportunities that we can have if we but take it. And not all of us will, but there will be those of us that will want to embrace and go to the continent and just do our own exploration, and or encourage others to say, yeah, it's a space out there that we can enjoy.
The one thing that we need to do, let me put this up. Yes, the one thing that we need to do is make ourselves available. Make ourselves available. It's all part of the reparations. It's all part of our reparations. We have to take the process, and we have to do what we need to do for our process. I want to thank you for joining us on the Blacknificent show here this afternoon. Right? Is it Mind Soul Connection? Right? We didn't go into the spiritual element, but still.
We didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Don't worry.
But there's still plenty of time for that.
Yeah, we'll make up for it.
We touched upon it a little bit, but Brother Akram's looking.
Yeah. I know Brother Akram is doing that. You got 1 minute, Brother Akram. Let's go for it.
Yeah. As I said, we're doing okay. I mean, the fact is, as I said, there's a lot that we can do, and as I said, my focus is trying to inspire people that there's opportunities in a land that they need to start thinking about, just like our foreparents move one place to another place in order to do things. Then we should be looking to move out from these places, because many of us are not going anywhere here, and rather than stay here and suffer, we should be trying the motherland some way and stay together. Have your friends and so forth, try and work out the strategy how we're going to work together. And the sky's the limit there. So that's what I have to say.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. What we'll do, right? We'll meet again in the near future. Go ahead.
Okay.
Say that again, please.
Has he gone?
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Okay. Thank you, Brother Akram, for
Brother
coming back, and knowing that all good, because I recognize that we heard you before the midday meditation, and you came back and joined us and shared your knowledge after the midday meditation. So thank you very much.
And I hope that everything worked out in your favor anyway. Because I know these interfering the raps doing them already. Anyhow, thank you, Sister Sandra. And we shall be back again in the near future.
Yes.
Right? Next up should be our sister Anawa. Right? So we're going to be handing over now to our sister Anawa. Okay. Until the next time we meet up, let's have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time.
Girl, I wake up in the morning and I'm tripping 'cause I'm thinking what the Lord has made to you. Never thought but I'm so glad you stayed to you. You make it better, gotta get myself together 'cause I want you more and more to you. Girl, it's hard to ignore. It's you, the new life has come to pass. I'm taking my baby home at last. I know I found my destiny, girl, 'cause you're bringing out the best in me. So whatever the future may hold, girl, I'll be loving you only from head to toe. Undivided, our love will stand. 'Cause you are my woman, yeah. And I'm proud to be your man to you. Girl, I wake up in the morning and I'm tripping 'cause I'm thinking what the Lord has made to you. Never thought I'd be forever getting ready, but I'm so glad you stayed to you. You make it better, gotta get myself together 'cause I want you more and more to you. Girl, it's hard to ignore. You're the love of my life, to have and hold. I will treasure you always, heart and soul. And I will stand. 'Cause you are my woman, yeah. And I'm proud to be your man. Yeah, it's always been you. It's you. Got a brother digging you, girl. It's you. Ooh, darling, it's you. It's you. Oh, oh. Hey, girl, yeah. It's you. You've been giving me the love and I've been missing, baby. Will you be my number one fan? It's you. How could heaven never send me such a blessing, mama? Help me understand. It's you. I've been living every second like I'm finger licking good all by myself. To you, I keep pretending that I'm loving every minute when I want somebody else. To you, I believe I'm more than just a little sentimental, but I think you know me well. To you, when I get to feeling somewhat caught up in the middle, baby, you're the only one I tell. To you, and while I'm at it, girl, I'm faithfully romantic. I'll be loving you all my day. To you, I just wanted to